I think we're streaming now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Another great edition of Bring It in the House. This is where we spotlight musicians, entertainers, artists, and leaders. I'm your host, Millie Mills. We have a great show tonight. The gentleman that's sitting in right here in front of us, he is all of that. He's, entertainment and more, community leader, industry leader. Let's give it up for a music programming strategist and founder of EBI, Mr. Earl Boston. Oh, it's so good to have you on the show. Thank you for stopping by.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Millie. It's great to be here with you. We go way back, Millie.
Yeah, we do. ABC Radio Networks. That's where
Yes,
you
yes,
you would
yes.
come in. How often? Like once a month and service
No,
the
actually,
urban. Hmm?
yeah, it was once per quarter. I worked with the five different urban formatted stations, if you will, or streams, I guess you would call them nowadays. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think it was classic R&B, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, the Touch, Doug
Yes.
Banks, and the Gospel Soul Food Network with William A. McKay.
Yes.
Yes, yes, those were the five formats that I work with. And the late Steve Harris brought me in, and I must say I'm just so grateful because I was probably 2 or 3 years into business at the time, and I remember seeing
Hmm.
Steve at a convention, and he wanted to get some help with a music scheduling app, and he was like, "Earl, we're having some problems with our software, and if you can help us out, I sure, try to do my best to get you a deal." And sure enough, it came to fruition, and I had about a 7 to 10 year run with ABC Radio Network in Dallas on Mount Fort. I
Yes.
remember coming down to Dallas once per quarter. For sure, that's where we met. As a matter of
Yep. And I mean, you would come in and you'd be so polished. And I'm like, wow, that man, he takes care of all those stations.
fact.
And as you would say, you provide services. You're not a consultant. You provide services for music
Yeah.
programmers, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's quite different. My mission, if you will, is to help empower program directors on uh, that one tool that they use to generate the best and most effective music log, and that being regardless, there's Music Master, there's Selector, there's Power Gold. There's a lot of different music scheduling applications. The prominent ones being Music Master and Selector, or G Selector now, but during my career, my stops along the way as a program director, I was fortunate enough, early stage of my career, to be introduced to music scheduling software from my mentor, Lee Michaels in Chicago. And he sat me down and showed me the intricacies of computer music software and how to schedule music. And I was fascinated. I was truly blown away. So
Mhm.
after about 4 years of working in Chicago, I had a break to get my first program director's position in small town Georgia. And when
Mhm.
I got down there, I didn't have the software, didn't I? So matter of fact, the music was being scheduled from another source, and just our music logs were sent to us. So I kind of felt cramped because I had learned so much in Chicago. But try to fast forward to programming in a few markets and then getting the opportunity to move to New York and to work at Radio
Mhm.
Computing Services for 3 years. And they trained me in all facets of, excuse me, music scheduling software, networking, digital audio, uh, you name it. And it was like being, at MIT. It was truly like a college. So I realized that after being trained and constantly trained while I was working and and new advancements of the programs, my position was telephone technical support. So I'm on the phone helping to troubleshoot music scheduling issues for program directors throughout the country from all different formats. So I just realized back then that, Millie, this technology and this tool that the program directors need, it's well beyond the average understanding, if you will, of the program director. So someone needed to help them understand how this software worked to their advantage, and that's the whole concept of starting ABI.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. That makes sense because I was about to ask you, for those who might be watching, to break it down. What is a selector, and what part does it play? With the how it connects with the programming industry, radio programming industry, and why is all of that significant?
Well, it's two ways that music is played on the radio, two basic forms. You've
Mm-hmm.
got a software program that generates the music log or the playlist, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got a playback digital audio system that plays back the music that is scheduled, see? But the music
Okay.
has to be scheduled first,
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
see?
Yeah.
Once the music is scheduled, then that music log that's generated is exported from the software to the playback system, and the playback system plays it back. But but you have to have that log together, that top of the hour to the bottom of the hour list of songs on how you want them to be aired or how you want them to be separated. There's so many different nuances or rule settings that allow you to generate a really effective music log.
Mm.
Something simple like artist separation is a rule that separates additional songs by the same artist. Chris Brown, I use for an example. He's got a lot of songs out, but you don't
Yes.
want a whole hour of one artist. So you got to
Right.
have a rule to separate additional songs by that artist. That's
Mm-hmm.
just one of the many rules. And you've got, for instance, a rule like roll. Roll is going to define uh, the makeup of the artist or the group. Is it a female vocalist? Is it a duet? Is it a collaboration? And see, again, these software schedules, because you don't want a whole hour of sad songs or you don't want a whole hour of male vocalists. See, so music scheduling is about generating an effective music log to make sure that you're capturing the attention of the listener, and that not only you're capturing the attention, but you're exposing the music at the right time per quarter
Right.
hour to
Mm-hmm.
keep their attention, because radio is a competitive medium. See,
Yes.
most formats, there's at least two stations going after the same target audience. So
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing different from your competition? If you can generate a better log, you're going to have a better chance of keeping your listener tuned into your station.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times in radio, there are glamorous and positions, and then there's somewhat behind the scenes positions. And most of
Mm-hmm.
those behind the scenes positions have much more longevity,
Yeah.
like your production directors, or board
Mm-hmm.
ops, or
Mm-hmm.
promotions managers. Not to say that program directors and music directors don't have longevity, but there are other positions in radio that are interesting, enticing.
Very,
See?
very interesting. And I'm going to ask you too, Earl, now, since, how technology is today, you can download songs, you can stream, you got internet radio stations, everybody doing their own thing. How do you guys, and I know your expertise is really helping keep terrestrial radio stations relevant today. How do you guys do that?
Well, the thing about music scheduling, it's not just for terrestrial. I mean, satellite radio. As a matter of fact, I had a client in Sirius Radio for about 4 years in Rockefeller Plaza, New York. So
Hmm.
all music formatted stations, whether they stream, whether they're terrestrial, you have to be able to generate or produce a music list, a playlist of songs in certain order to make sure that your listeners are entertained.
Yeah.
I mean, it all depends on the target format. I mean, who are you going after? You know, you got a CBS FM that targets the oldies. You've got Hot 97 that targets the hip hop, a younger generation. You've got BLS here in New York that is more of an adult contemporary target, 25-54. So it depends on who your target audience is, but it doesn't matter whether it's a terrestrial or internet radio or satellite radio. Each of these forms of music distribution, if you will, or music formatted stations needs to have a playlist of songs that will attract listeners and keep them listening.
Yes, I agree. And is that determined sometimes by I guess, the record labels kind of like influence, like, this is going to be a hit, this is going to be a top chart or chart topper and things like that, right? Am I right?
Yeah, the record labels play a large part in what's played on the air, especially for a contemporary station, because a contemporary station like your Power 105 in New York or Hot 97, or I'm mentioning New York stations because I live in the area. But yeah, a mainstream or contemporary station are playing new music all the time. Not to say that an adult contemporary station doesn't play new music, but their playlist has less new songs than a mainstream station. So a mainstream station is definitely courted by the record labels to, here's the new song by Drake, or here's the new song by
Alicia Keys.
Whomever, whatever artist. I want you to please give this song a good exposure on your station. She's doing real well. We can help support your station if you play the song by having her perform, at one of your events or something like that. So yeah, the record labels work in close connection with the radio stations. Sure.
Yes, that's amazing, because I used to see you, from time to time you come into ABC radio networks. I'm like, this man is on a mission. Do you only work with urban stations, or do you work with all genres?
All genres for the most part. As a matter of fact, I'm blessed now with contract, a long-standing contract with Radio One, and they're the largest provider of entertainment for the urban genre, but they have stations in all formats. I mean, country stations and pop stations and news stations and all kind of different stations. As a matter of fact, I had a couple of people ask me when I was working with Sirius, was I just working with urban stations? And no, I work with, at the time, there was 60 different formats, from classical to rock to jazz, you name it. So as a matter of fact, I learned something about each of these different formats that I work with. But one thing that you want to realize with all different formats is there's some type of rotation going on. What do I mean by rotation? Well, when you listen to the radio, every now and then you hear that same song come back.
Yeah.
And on a mainstream station or a contemporary station, those songs will repeat faster than on an adult contemporary station. So the playlist on a mainstream or contemporary station is a shorter playlist, if you will, than it would be on, say, adult contemporary or an oldie station. But still, regardless of the format, there's some type of rotation going on. Whether the songs repeat every 2 hours or the same songs repeat every 2 days, there's a rotation of songs that repeat, because music is tested. It's not just the radio station playing what they feel,
whatever they want.
No, these songs are tested, and the music scores that come back that represent how much the listeners want to hear those specific songs that are played on a radio station. And that's where these songs get put into a specific category rotation. and repeat.
Mhm.
Certain songs may come back every 3 hours. Certain songs may repeat every 5 hours. Certain songs may
Mhm.
repeat every 15 hours. But yeah, each music category, if you will, repeats songs that the target listening audience want to hear.
That they want to hear. Guys, if you're just tuning in, of course, this is Mr. Earl Boston out of the Jersey, New York area. He is a music programming strategist and founder of EBI, that's Earl Boston Incorporated. This man has so much experience when it comes to providing services to program directors, radio program directors around the country pretty much. Is it just in the New York area? Are you international as well as national now?
No, I'm pretty national, not international. I work with stations throughout the country,
Mhm.
and it's just it's a major blessing to do what you love.
What you love.
I can't express how important that is. If you're just working for money, uh, you're dreading Sunday night and those last hours, and I got to go back to work. See. But when you do what you love, there's not enough hours in the day to
It's not
satisfy
enough.
whatever passion you're trying to fulfill. See,
That's right.
that is so key. I can't express that enough. And
Yeah.
I posted something just last week about how radio programming or working in the programming department at radio is so much joy. There's
So much
nothing in the
joy.
world like radio. There's no other profession like radio. And when radio is good, it's just an incredible feeling of joy. I mean,
It
I
is.
still to this day, uh,
Yes.
when I hear a certain song, I'm just moved. You know what music does, and to
Oh
be
yeah.
able to be a part of delivering that to the community, and to be able to not only delivering the music, but be able to super serve the community with other things like whether it be helping them out with there's just breast cancer awareness or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so many different community services that a radio station can do to
Mm-hmm.
to to provide that avenue that a lot of other mediums can't.
Can't do.
Radio
Yeah.
is a medium that is here to stay and will always be because of that. I mean, just think about it to today, to this moment, how even something as small as a listener seeing a jock for the first time after listening to them for so many years, that whole theater of the
Mm-hmm.
mind concept of
Yes.
putting that voice with the face,
Yes.
that whole illusionary radio thing that will never die.
It'll never die. I'm glad to hear you say that because I definitely want to get back into radio. It's been a minute since I've been in it, and
No, do
um, I've I definitely want to get back in it, and that's all
it.
I'm going to say on that part.
Yeah, you can do it.
Speaking of, you have met a lot of great people in the industry. Let's look at some of your pictures here. We were able to yay, there you go. Now, who all is in that picture, Earl?
Well, that's Phil on the left. He's the award-winning Cox Program Director of WEDR
Mm-hmm.
in Miami. That's Elroy
Yes.
Smith to next to him,
Uh-huh.
and of course Elroy is a legendary program director now who programmed at my hometown station where he got his start at WIOD in Boston. But I worked with him for nearly a decade at WGCI in Chicago. Elroy
Mm-hmm.
is very, very well known and
Mm-hmm.
prominent program director. Next to him
Mm-hmm.
is Ralph Tresvant, lead singer for New Edition.
I thought that was Ralph. Yeah.
Yes, yes. The photo
Yay.
was taken maybe a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, at an
Hmm.
event in
Hmm.
Atlanta for Reach
Yes.
Media Inc. But yeah, that was. I mean, just being able to network and to be around the programmers that you work with. There's one thing of being on these video conferences, but when you're face to face with the people that you talk with on a regular basis, it's nothing in the world like that. Nothing in the
Yes.
world like that. As a matter of fact, DL Hughley, I had a chance to witness him, for the first time face to face at his presentation, and the man is a genius. He is
Yes.
so intelligent. Um,
Yes.
I walked away with just a whole newfound respect for him, and I was just grateful to be able to take this picture with him afterwards. But yeah, I just really, really am grateful to God to be able to
Hmm.
be a conduit of some information to help empower others.
That's
When you
right.
take consideration that um, we talked a moment ago about consultants, and I know that people look at me as one, but no, I kind of I fall back from that title. I'm more of a service provider, a music
Yes.
programming service provider, because I
Provider.
want to be able to uh, help empower program directors in making sure that this tool that they need to generate the most effective log, they got a clear understanding of how it works and how it can save them time, because time management is key. Most
Hmm.
program directors have uh, uh, so many chores that they have to do on a daily basis.
Yes.
And to be able to generate an effective log in the least amount of time, because it's all about ratings in radio. You want to make sure that your station is attracting a good market share. Uh,
Hmm.
People tune into music formatted stations primarily for the music.
For the
There's
music.
only really one day part that may be slightly more important than music, and that is the information day part being morning drive. But
Yeah.
still, you want to hear the music.
You definitely want to hear the music. That's right, Earl. That is. And it all started for you. Did you choose this industry or did the industry choose you?
That's a good question. I started out, my hometown is Boston, Boston, Mass. Grew
Uh-huh.
up in Roxbury, Dorchester area of Boston, where No Edition and Celtics, and New Kids on the Block, and my hometown station, to call it, is WILD, Wild Radio.
Wow.
It's an AM daytime station that launched the careers of some great, great programmers. I mean, this little station, it was at a daytime signal, an AM station. In the winter, when sundown, it had to go off the air. So it would sign off the air like 4:15 in the winter, because
Yeah.
that was, yeah. So, and it sign on in the morning at 7 something, when sunrise, and sign off at sunset. But that didn't matter. I mean, this station could have been shortwave. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
WILD was the pulse of the community. It was it was the information source.
Mm.
And again, it launched the careers of a lot of great programmers, a lot of great announcers, a lot of great industry people. And I was blessed to be able to come up in that market. Um, but I must say, God has placed some powerful people in my career path that has
Yes.
helped me along the way. And I can't express how important it is for those interested in radio to align themselves with a mentor, to
Yeah.
get somebody that can help you. Because, there are so many things like maturity, or,
Mhm.
or understanding people's skills, or
Uh-huh.
understanding how to work with different other departments at the radio station, or just
Yes.
being able to be entwined with all the other departments at a radio station. But honing your craft and paying some dues is something that should never be overlooked. Meaning,
Yes.
if you got to get on the road and travel, yeah, you may want to work in New York. Who doesn't? Or maybe you may want to work in LA or Atlanta. Who doesn't? But sometimes you've got to go hone your craft and start
Yeah.
off in a smaller market,
Yeah.
and then make a track record of your success. See?
Yeah.
And then have a body of work that you can shop and market yourself with to take yourself to the next larger
Next
market.
level. Yeah. That's
I'm
right,
talking
Earl.
too much.
You said now you're such a teacher, man. You are you're such a
God gets
teacher.
the glory. I am nothing.
Yeah.
God gets the
Yeah.
glory. I am just,
Right.
I'm humbled and I'm grateful to have my
Amen.
little small
Amen.
business, my wife and I. And it's just, again, when you can do
Yeah.
something that you enjoy doing, it's not work.
That's right.
It's not work at all.
Well, congratulations on all your success. I mean, you started EBI what year?
It was
96?
1996. After
Yeah.
traveling on the road as a jock and a program director, and I programmed many years in the Carolinas. I worked in St. Louis. I worked in Atlantic City, Chicago, of course, as a jock. But traveling the country and holding my craft as a program director, I got an opportunity to move to New York after reuniting. Speak about mentors. My mentor is Lee Michaels. Lee
Oh my
Michaels was the program director of WBMX in Chicago when I had that was my major break to work in the third largest market. They call it the second city, but third largest market, Chicago at the time. And he's the one that sat me down in front of the personal computer. And he's the one that showed me the intricacies of working with music scheduling software. He was one of the first in the industry, regardless of formats, to use music scheduling software. So I got the bug early on from him. But what I learned, and I talk about, mentors, what I learned from him was his people skills. I remember him laying off people, and they'd walk out of his office with a smile. Saying, that's people skills.
Yeah.
But not only Lee, I mean, Jerry Bolding,
Yeah.
Jim
I know Jerry.
Maddox. I mean, I've had some people in my career path. When I first started out, I didn't even know how to put together a proposal. Okay.
Yeah.
I I had my little first stage of business cards. I was at an Impact convention in Nashville at the Grand Ole Opry. I can't even remember what year it was. It had to be like '97 because it was like the first year I was in business. I worked at. Let me just try to put this capsule together real quick. Traveled the road as a jock and as program director. Moved to New York in '93 and worked at Radio Computing Services, the parent company for Selector. They trained me on all facets of music scheduling software, networking, operating systems, digital audio, and all that. So I'm on the phone doing telephone technical support, realizing that every 2 weeks, that same person who called me to have me help them troubleshoot a problem said, "Earl, it's broke again. Could you help me fix it?" So light bulb went off and was like, wait a minute, they're not getting it. Somebody's got to empower these people with this information. Somebody's got to, which what to realize here is, just because you know something doesn't mean you can empower somebody else with that knowledge. It's a certain skill it takes to be a conduit of information, because you have to have patience, and no two people learn at the same time, not the same pace. So again, God gets the glory. He gave me that skill to be able to patiently disseminate information so that when the light bulb went off for me, I felt victorious. And that's that same kind of feeling when the light bulb goes off, when you finally get understanding, that's when you feel empowered.
Yes.
That's when you can, all right, I can do that. I can take on something else.
Yeah.
See?
That's right.
So after 3 years of doing telephone technical support, I was like, you know something?
Yeah.
I gotta do something with this knowledge.
Yeah.
Again, mentors. I got an offer to fly out to Los Angeles to be under one of my mentors, Jim Maddox. And he was the vice president of programming for DMX. It was one of those music services similar to Muzak. And Jim Maddox, the legendary programmer, he programmed it in Houston and Chicago, many, many markets. He is one to have learned from, like Lee Michaels and like Jerry Bolding, like others that I was blessed to cross in my path, my career path. But he flies me out to Los Angeles. I'm leaving, just about to leave. I was still at RCS at the time. He says, "Earl, I want you to be my director of programming." So I'm sitting in his office. He gave me an offer, told me how much he could pay. He says, "You know something, Earl? I can give you this job. I can give you a good salary. But the knowledge that you've got from Selector is more valuable than any of these consultants out here."
Wow. That's amazing.
So he was like, "Yeah, you can have this job if you want.
Yeah.
But if I were you,
You launch out and start your own services, and that's how EBI came about.
That was one initial. Then so Grand Ole Opry. Let me get back to this very quickly.
Almost out of
I'm at
time.
this Impact convention in Nashville, and I had my first phase of business cards. And I'm sitting there, and I look over to my left, and there are two prominent people in the industry. Barry Mayo, at the time he was an owner of some stations, and he worked at BAZ in Chicago. And next to him was Michael Saunders, and he was the operations manager
I remember
for a
him.
cluster of stations in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm standing there, and I'm like nervous, and I'm like, oh, I have to say something. I came here to try to get some clients. So I said to myself, well, if I don't go over there, it's going to be the same thing as I know. So I
Yeah.
walked over and I gave my business card. And mind you, I'd worked with both of these while I was at RCS because, you know, they had called, you know, to get telephone technical support, especially Michael, because we both had worked in the Carolinas. So I gave a business card to Barry Mayo, and he looked at it and said, I like this.
I like it.
Just those words was because I've always been like, he's the man, you know.
You're right.
Just those words, he said, I like this. And Michael Saunders said, call my general manager Monday morning. We need somebody like you. That turned into a 4-year contract just by walking over there.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We need a 2-hour show with you, Earl. Because I could listen on and on, but we're just about out of time.
Again,
Oh my goodness.
I know we got to wrap up, and I just,
Yeah.
you know, I know you got a few more questions, so hit me because I know I'm rambling on. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say too, I was going to ask you, how do you balance life and all your success? Because you have a beautiful family, your beautiful wife, everything. So, I mean, and you're always busy. How do you handle or juggle it all?
Well, I must say, it's very important. Anybody that's listening and everybody that's listening.
All right, listen up, y'all.
This is more important than anything that I could ever do. You know, a lot of people look up to God. They say, well, God has done this for me. God has done that. God sent his son here to sacrifice his life for us. So you owe him. He doesn't owe you.
Come on.
You owe him. So what do you do to pay him back? Well, you don't read his Bible, you study his Bible. So you open it up daily and you study it.
Study it.
What I mean by that is reading is one thing, but you can read anything. You can read a billboard, but you need to study his word. And if you get to a passage or a verse and you don't understand, and Google it, get a commentary on it, but get understanding of God's word. It is so vitally important in this world that we live in, where the moral standards are next to nothing.
Yeah.
That's been my guide. That's when everyone told me I couldn't do this, and I, you know, again, I ain't nobody. I ain't done nothing. I can't wake myself up in the morning.
That's right. Come on.
But God gets all the glory.
Yeah,
and I don't say it, you know, along with not reading, no, along with studying his word, is make time for him, because he makes time for you 24/7. Get your butt up on Sunday morning and go worship him.
Amen.
Make time for him.
Yes.
Because he makes time for you.
Amen.
And you're going to find yourself at a point in your life where you're going to wish you had.
Yeah.
See, but don't let that pass you in your life.
Yes.
See? Read and study his word daily. Find out. And God hasn't changed. We've changed.
We've changed. Yeah. We've moved away from him. Yeah. He doesn't move away from us. We move away from him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can't express that enough. And I don't want to be on a soapbox about one spiritual walk, but it's so vitally important. I mean, think about 18 people getting killed playing bowling and going to a bowling alley. Or think about all these people that lost their lives in Maine. In Maine. That's what I was talking about, the 18 people in the bowling alley. But all the people in Israel who lost their lives. But think about life in general. I had a friend, a very, very, very good program director, who was heading to a convention and literally had an anxiety attack on the way and had to be hospitalized.
Yeah.
I mean, life is precious, and we do not know how long we're going to be here.
No, we
Now,
don't.
and I'll say this, and this is my last thing about spirituality or one spiritual walk.
Mhm.
You hear everyone say, well, this person passed away and they're looking down at me. Not everybody's going there. Not everybody's going.
Yeah.
That's why there's a hell.
Yeah, that's true. I'm with you.
Not everyone is looking down. If you
Mhm.
didn't live your life the way God would have you live your life while your spirit was in your flesh, not everybody's going.
Yeah.
So now is the time to take that serious and put God first in your life. And don't just say it.
Do it.
Don't just say it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to say things. You got, faith without works is
Works
dead.
is dead. That's right. That's
You've
right.
got to do it.
Do
You've
it.
got
Yeah.
to make time for him because
Mhm.
you cannot wake yourself up. You
That's
can,
right.
all right, and that's one part of the secret of my success as well.
Work and balance. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other part
Right.
is exercise.
Exercise.
I,
Okay.
I run 4 miles a day.
4 months.
Okay, my body is my temple, and so
Yeah.
I haven't eaten meat in maybe 25 years, red meat. Um,
Oh, good for you.
Again, you have to take care of yourselves. You can't be, yeah, I know that things taste good, but I got this from Jerry Bolden years ago. I remember I was in Atlanta where he was over the Sheridan Gospel Network, and I was a client at the time. And we went out for some sushi. And he was like, Earl, sometimes you just have to acquire a taste for things that are healthy. You just got to acquire the taste. I
Yeah.
know many people that have lost weight because they've cut down on carbs or they've cut down on sugar. There's ways we can control ourselves. We can
Yeah.
control our mind.
Mhm.
We control our actions. We are control of our way of doing things.
Yeah.
Um, Follow your passion. Find yourself a mentor. Exercise. What's most important. I cannot express. If there's anything I want you to walk away with, is to study, not just read, but
Study.
study God's
Study
word.
God's word.
Study it.
Amen.
It's
Mhm.
not going to change if you don't if you don't have a Bible. You can get one online, and there are different translations. You can get a new NIV or English Standard Version. You don't have to worry about breaking down the old English language in the King James Version. But I cannot express the importance of your spiritual walk.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be successful at anything, no matter what your career may be,
Yes.
you need to have your life right with God.
Amen. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Mr. Earl Boston. You can go to the website. Let me pull it up right quick. earlboston.com. Check out his website and he'll tell you, it tells you about his services and all the great things that they do. And here's his contact. Is it okay if we share your contact number? Because
Why
it's
not?
on. Okay, there's a contact number. You can call him up. And you starting your own radio station, like if you're going to do an internet radio station. Say if I wanted to start one today, could I get your services?
Sure could.
Okay.
Sure could. And my rates are
Again,
reasonable.
your
Reasonable
rates are
rates.
reasonable. Okay, you guys, you heard that.
No,
You guys heard that.
yeah. It's
Mr.
about helping. It's about empowering. It's about lifting each other up. It's about.
Yes.
I mean, let's face it. Think about it. Think about. Oh, who is it? Puffy said, more money, more problems. But
Yeah.
think about money and the fact that how much can you do with what you got? If you
Yeah.
got a lot of money, then you get to a point where, okay, I'm going to give some away. I'm a philanthropist. But money is all relative. If
Yeah.
you're happy and you're comfortable I mean, I would rather be happy than rich. See?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, you will be happy. That's right.
There
Well,
you go.
guys, we're out of time, and I was trying to let you get that last sentence in, but guys, tune in next week. We'll have another exciting guest for you. But Mr. Boston has been so much. We went over time today, but it was all worth it. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for all your
Hey, listen.
information.
Thank you,
Yes,
Millie. It's such a
you're very
blessing to talk to you.
thank you. You
This has been
guys
a lot of fun. My first podcast, by the way, with Millie.
And you did a great job, guys. Look him up, Earl Boston. He is sensational, knowledgeable. Well, you heard it for yourself right here. I'm bringing it in the house. Bye, guys.